All right, there we are. It's 2 hours UTC. Welcome, everybody, to Astronomy Daily Live. So, hope everybody's doing well. There's a storm passing through my area right now. So, it's possible that power is going to go out, the internet might go out. Don't exactly know, but I wanted to do this live stream because we sort of have a timely thing maybe to talk about a little bit. But I was talking to Atta, who is on the panel, about the new panelist rules, which you can see pinned to my Discord server, which there's a link to down below here in the description. Oh, yeah. What I was just about to say is that I'm probably going to have to enforce one of the rules here soon. When a panelist asks to come on and they aren't on for an entire month, then it seems like they probably don't want to be on anymore. So off they'll go. They won't get the email each and every day. So pretty much at the same time. I like to mess with you a little bit sometimes, and it's like, well, I'm gonna wait a little longer and see if anybody gets itchy. So all right. So before we get into the topic at hand, I want to look at the chat and say hi to everybody there. Tom and Chuck, nice to have you back. The other day I called this glass that makes these mirrors back here, I called it borosilicate. No. This stuff is called Zerodur. I think it's Zerodur, I think, or Der, but I think it's Dur. So it's a weird kind of glass. I mean, it is a glass, but it's not like any glass that you'd normally see. One of the major important things about this is thermal expansion and contraction. It is stable through a very, very, very wide temperature span. So when it gets cold, it's the same size, and when it's hot, it's exactly the same size still. Because of course, no, I don't want you having any of that. Because of course, you don't want the shape of your mirror to change, just due to temperature. So this is very, very, very low expansion. You can sort of imagine over a span of 8.4 meters, if there's even, a millimeter of expansion, you're done. You're totally done. So yeah. So anyway, that's Zerodur. So
from the standpoint of the chemistry, I'd be interested in how they make that. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, it's like a glass alloy. Yeah, I guess. Either that or how it's made, what the source material is.
Yeah, so there's no thermal expansion at all. It's got a zero coefficient of thermal expansion.
Yeah, it's of course, nothing is zero, but
it's close enough to it.
Really, 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 really low. So they keep these mirrors. See, these mirrors are mostly hollow inside. They're not solid. They're a like a honeycomb shape inside, and so that actually allows them to cool it really, really well. Keep the temperature nice and stable already, So, you know, you've got pretty stable thermal control, and you've got this stuff that doesn't expand and contract. So it is rock solid, I guess you can say. So, all right, well, cool. I've got a little bit of coffee left here, so cheers to that. It's getting cold already. And of course, I've got the hydrogen hydroxide because this is just a fun, casual gathering of friends practically every day at 2 hours UTC to chit chat about all things astronomy and space and sciencey, nerdy things like that. So yeah, hope everybody's doing well. I'm not seeing any rain, or I'm not hearing any thunder or anything, so maybe the storm is sort of blowing by and nothing's going to happen at all. So all right, well, hope everybody's doing well.
I'll be here till the end of the month, but the first about week and a half of July, it's the 4th of July period and all that. I am going to be playing Abigail Adams in my area.
Nice.
So I'll be on tour as Abby Adams.
Nice. Is that in August? Is that what you mean?
Now, in July, around the 4th of July.
Okay. Well, so I mean, we've got another.
Oh yeah.
Year. Yeah. But nice. Do you do that every year?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do it every year now.
Oh, okay. So
I'll be in good shape.
Nice. Excellent. All right. Well, cool. So, I think everybody's heard, and I don't know if you have or not. Uncle Bill, howdy. Nice to have you here, painting the chat yellow. Yes. But there's a little bit of a controversy over on Mauna Kea, on the Big Island of Hawaii. The natives have blocked the road and basically shut the observatory down. They have some kind of a gripe with the construction of a new telescope called the 30-meter telescope, and that's actually how big it's going to be. It's going to be this 30-meter diameter optical telescope. It's called the TMT. So, and
30 meters?
30 meters, yeah.
Whoa.
30 meters. Yeah, big.
Big.
I don't remember exactly why, or what they want that for. I mean, obviously with something that large, you can see things pretty darn faint. And faint sort of implies at least a first order distance, right? So things like really far away, it's not going to have much better resolution than the dual Keck telescopes, or even the large binocular telescope I've got here just to the north of me. That huge eyesore up there in the mountains. It's this bright white, obnoxious square block right on top of the mountain, and there's no way to not see it at all.
Is this what the Polynesians' problem is? The view, or what?
I'm not exactly certain, because there are lots of telescopes up there now.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, there hasn't ever been any kind of a problem until now. And yeah, I don't really know what to make of it exactly. Astro Live, Astrophotography channel. Hey, nice to have you here. Cheers. we're talking about Mauna Kea, sort of the situation up there. The natives have decided to block efforts to put a new telescope up on the mountain, and you know, they view this location as very, very, very sacred, right? That is sacred ground, and you know, I could appreciate that and respect that a lot. Um, Speaking as an astronomer, of course, I'm obviously biased, right? I mean, I have a wide open bias, but I try to be as open minded as I possibly can. So so speaking as an astronomer, I mean, we sort of view those locations as very sacred spots too. Um, you know, I mean, they those those devices demand respect. They absolutely do, because they one aren't going to move, and two, they will chew you up. So you know, you have to have a lot of respect for these absolutely humongous devices. That you know, I mean, I've 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 banged my head on a few of them, and let me tell you, those things are as solid as you can possibly imagine. So you know, when you bang your head, there is no give at all. You get all that energy back, all of it, and it hurts. It hurts. Even the lightest little bong hurts. So yeah, you know, I wish I understood the situation better, um, because you know, there are obviously multiple sides to this story, and it'd be nice to hear directly from somebody who has, you know, this kind of opposition. I think it'd be really, really neat to hear that. Um, but you know what I'm getting, um, and at least the vibe I'm getting, is a lot like the vibe I got during Mount Graham, um, when there was a huge controversy there about putting the observatory up in, you know, on sacred land. Um, yes, the Canary Islands are, and they have some um, pretty amazing observatories up there right now. Most of the telescopes that SLOOH runs, SLOOH, are located in the Canary Islands. I think they have a few there, and they have one in Chile. But yeah, the Canary Islands is a great, great, great place. Again, here's another thing basically stolen from uh, you know, the native groups. They just, you know, kick the natives off and bye bye, right? Which is
Yeah, but in all fairness to modern people, I get, believe me, more than anybody else here. I understand about this sort of thing and how bad it really is. But when all of this happened, that was simply the way everybody operated. We're judging it with today's morality. But back then, if I want the land and you won't get off of it, I will kill you. And if I am technologically superior to you, I will do this.
that's it.
There's no malice in it.
Nope.
You know,
It's very logical.
bad rap for the same reason. He was just better than any of the other bastards at what he did. That's but I mean, you can't, as I pointed out to one of my friends who wanted to be all politically correct about Native Americans. I said, look, do you want to give Maine back to the Katahdin Indians now? You know, I mean, it's a little late. You know, it's done.
Yeah, let's just get along and have a ball instead.
let's just try to do what we can do. And
Yeah.
even the Polynesians would admit, the ones blocking the road to the observatory, there are more Polynesians. Well, it's hard to find a thoroughbred Polynesian anymore, but as far as Polynesian genes, genetic material goes, there's more of that around today than there was when the white man first hit the islands. So
Yeah, yeah. I think it's, my sense is that a lot of this is like, very, very emotional.
yeah,
And that's okay. That can be part of the equation, but it can't be the only thing. And a lot of people, believe me, I knew a lot of them. They just like to protest. They just like to get angry about things and march and chant.
they
And
can't do anything about what's really bothering them, so they're going to go out and make noise about something that isn't.
yeah, yeah.
That's been my
Now,
observation.
and this is just my conjecture. I'm not exactly sure what their you know specific complaint is, except that this was a culturally sacred place that already has a bunch of telescopes on it.
Yeah, right.
It's got a whole bunch of telescopes on it.
Yeah.
So I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but I sort of wanted to back up a little bit and think about what's the big deal about putting a telescope on top of a big mountain? I mean, why do that? If you want dark, if you want really, 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 really dark, you should go out to the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
Where there's no lights anywhere. I can't imagine how that looks.
I can. I've seen that, and it is just amazing. God.
Okay.
I used to date a Danish sea captain, as a matter of fact. And we were discussing the sky. This was before I was interested in astronomy, and he said, "You have not seen the sky till you have seen it in the middle of the ocean at night." He said, "Turn the ship's lights off." They don't have many transport ships, don't have many lights on them anyway. They're not like cruise ships. And it's just, it's incredible. I couldn't believe it. And I wasn't even interested in astronomy at the time. But he said something else that I've always thought about. He said, he said, all the talk about UFOs and people seeing UFOs and all this stuff. He said, I find it very interesting that no sailor has ever reported seeing a UFO. He said, you'd think if anyone would see one, it would be somebody out there in the middle of the ocean. And I thought, yeah, you got a good point there.
That's a very excellent point. Yeah. Wow.
There have been really no sightings by seamen. He's not counting Air Force planes flying around over the ocean. He's talking seamen. He said, see the sky as clear as you're going to see it.
Yeah.
And they're out there on their watch for hours and hours and hours.
Right.
Nobody ever reports seeing anything.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So why not? I mean, there's a lot of ocean, and there's a lot of dark ocean. Dark ocean. Why don't you set up your stupid telescopes out there in the dark, where it's not bothering anybody at all?
That's right.
I mean, it sounds like a good idea, right? But
stability might be a problem.
Well, we can deal with that though. We fly a 3.5 meter telescope in an airplane.
Well, yeah.
Right now. True. So no problem. Yeah. I mean, getting a thing to float and be stable, or maybe you can find a place to anchor it or something. There's lots of possibilities. The reason why the stars blow your mind when you're out with that extreme dark is that you basically have just laminar flow going. So,
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of air still, between you and space, but you have this nice continuous flow. There's no little eddies. There's no things. It's just a nice smooth flow, and so that contributes to really, really, really good seeing. Really, really good seeing. So, okay, well, fine. You've got really, really great seeing and really, really dark skies. What else do you want?
Yeah.
Right? Why does it have to be on a mountain? Well, the reason why it has to be on a mountain is because all that air and all that moisture and all of that absorbs certain wavelengths of light that we just cannot see from down here. We've got to get out of the air. There's no way around that at all, except to get yourself as high as you possibly can. Then wavelengths of light that you can't possibly see down here, suddenly they're just there, and that allows for more data, more science, all of that. So it's those three things though um, uh, that make the tops of mountains very, very desirable. Now there might be other characteristics. I'm not exactly sure. I'm thinking about this sort of just thinking out loud a little bit here. But I think that is basically it. So you've got to be on top of a mountain. It's far away from the cities and the lights, so it's dark. It's high up. Yeah, yeah. So that sort of limits us to a certain extent as to which mountaintops you can occupy. Some are easier than others. Mauna Kea is super, super easy. I mean, really, really easy. There's just nothing on top at all. I don't. I think that there are small living things there, like plants and whatnot. But I don't think there's very much up there. It's really, really dry. It's well above, the canopy of like fog and whatnot. Right? It's way, way, way above that. So the the other interesting thing about the observatories up there is that for the most part, I think they're all not exactly remotely controlled, but the astronomers who are collecting their data are actually down the mountain in Hilo, looking at the data coming in. They're running an instrument, they're running a spectrograph or something, and they're controlling the instrument from the well from the control panel downtown in Hilo.
Yeah, I want to be up there anyway.
Yeah, well, they actually do have a full staff at each scope, because they have to maintain. They yeah, there are things that still have to be done. So there's a telescope operator, who runs that, makes sure that the telescope isn't going to fall apart on anybody. It's always a nice thing.
Check the chat. We have a couple of questions on there.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Hi,
good.
John.
Good.
You
John
guys.
Ellis, hey, nice to
guys.
see you. Nice to see you in the chat. Great. City platform. Yeah. It would, but we really, really, really need those extra wavelengths. We're, it doesn't. It's not quite enough. Yeah. Uh, oh, so yeah, make a civilian version of Sophia. Whew, that's I would not personally volunteer to do that because me and airplanes don't get along all that well. We get about we get along about as well as me and alcohol does. So we just do not mix whatsoever at all. We dislike each other very, very much. So, but no, I do like to fly, but this body does not like to fly. I I love it. I love it. But so somebody could do that. Um, but it's not going to be me. Oh, Neuropilot. Okay, I recognize Neuropilot. Yeah, nice to have you here. Excellent. Glad to have you. This is just a casual gathering. So we're talking about Mauna Kea, and backing up a little bit. I'm thinking about why do telescopes have to be on mountains anyway, right? So, you know, I'm not too sure that these folks over there have much that they can do legally. Um, you know, they can certainly very, 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 very effectively um, um, do what it looks like they're doing, and that is, nonviolent passive resistance, right? If they feel that, they are um, doing the right thing, then they certainly should do that. Because what do we know, right? What does anybody know? So, if they think they're right, then let them do that for sure. Don't stop them. But it does create a problem for those of us who work there and want to observe there. Um, you know, Shutting down the telescopes. Uh-oh, there's a communication coming in.
No, that won't be necessary.
All right. I'm glad you cleared that up. So, so yeah, I'm just not sure if they are, coming at this from sort of a logical thing where they have worked out sort of a logical train of thought and sort of deductively came to a thing where it's like, well, therefore it must be like this, or if they're coming from more like an emotional side, which is valid, but it's a little more squishy. Um, uh, yeah, Chuck.
Yeah, that's clever. I like that. They're very smooth.
Yeah. You wouldn't have the same dynamic pressures that you would have flying in an airplane. So yeah, that's an interesting thought. Um, Maybe that's a better use for those kinds of things than advertising. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. So anyway, how this is going to end up is that the telescope is going to be built there, probably, but maybe not. And does it have to be built there? No, not really. Not really. It's probably the ideal location, but there's a lot of mountains. There's a lot of mountains. It can go elsewhere. Um, so we'll sort of see. I predict that it's probably going to happen, and it's um, it's it's going to be a little bit of a scar on the astronomical community, just like Mount Graham is. It's got just this little twinge of like, oh man, that could have been so much better. Kitt Peak National Observatory made an agreement with the Native American tribe that this mountain is a part of. This mountain range that Kitt Peak is a part of, there's a dome rock there. And this dome rock is from which the entire universe sprung. So it's really, really, really important to these people, right? Like really, really, really important. Regardless of what you think of it, right? This is like the center of the universe to them. And
well, I'd like to ask a lot of them, do you really believe that? No doubt some of them do. I have no doubt of it. But most don't. I mean, nice stories is what they are.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Myths are usually partially fact-based.
Yeah, they are very definitely.
So who knows? Anyway, back in 1958, the National Science Foundation made a deal with the tribe saying, we'll buy the electricity from the tribe. I think there's some kind of land lease or something like that. The natives can, sell their things with the gift shop and all of that. So they've been doing that for 60 years. No problem at all. And this is like a really, 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 really important location for this tribe. It's like a big deal. And we just plop our big white cans on top of it, and they say, hooray, right? So I'm hoping that the same kind of thing can happen all over the place, right? Because then everybody wins. And, the people who are protesting against the observatory don't seem to understand that we astronomers hold those locations absolutely sacred. Absolutely. I mean, that is sacred ground, and you feel it when you go into these observatories. You feel it. It's a power there that is really, really amazing, because you've got this humongous machine in front of you.
I would say it's not sacred to you in the same way it's sacred to me.
Yeah.
Because of the technology and how awesome it is. It's sacred to me because of the spirit.
Yeah, and well, what I'm sort of implying there is that the level of respect for that location, I think, is pretty equal.
Yeah, I do. I agree with that.
Yeah. So it's just, you're coming at it from sort of two different ways, and instead of understanding, they I guess they don't want to understand, or they can't understand. And okay, so protest, block the road, see how far that gets you. It could get you. I mean, you could definitely have have that telescope relocate, for sure, for sure.
I would think that would
Um,
work. Just lay down, a bunch of you lay down on the road, and then nobody's going to get by unless they run over you, which they're not going to do,
right.
hopefully.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's one of the big things when it comes to nonviolent protesting, is that the protesters are going to suffer. That is part of the deal. Um, but that's how you win. That's how you win. So they are going to do exactly what they're going to do, I suppose. I just hope that they're doing it for the right reasons, and it's not just an emotional response, because
When it comes
because
you're screwing over my belief system sort of mentality. There's just so much hypocrisy in the world. I have a hard time with any of these things, even though I know some people can be very sincere about it. I've
well,
seen too much where it's not.
it's it's a part. It's actually it's in the first number one Bill of Rights, right? Is religious freedom, which means whatever anyone believes in a religious way is exactly how it is, and there's nothing that you can do to stop that. So, and that's cool, but you sort of have your ways, and they have their ways. So it comes down to that, because you know while we both hold these locations sacred, right? Nobody owns them. There's no way to do that. There's absolutely no way to do that. And if it's if the argument is, well, I was here first. Well, prove it. You can't. And if you can't prove it, then it's no good. It's not valid. so nobody owns anything, really. We grab onto things for a little while, but that's about it. So it isn't their land. It's not the telescope builders' land either. It's nobody's. So yeah, I think a compromise can be done, right? I mean, look, money talks,
It's amazing
and
what this will do for people's belief system.
yeah, and that's okay. That's okay. And I gotta say, right? We can afford it. We can afford to do that. Um, we we um, you know we definitely did some pretty nasty things. And when I say we, I'm saying the Europeans. We did some pretty nasty things, but most humans have done some pretty nasty things. Europeans are not alone in that either. We've been pretty nasty to each other for a long, long, long time, and that's at least one of the reasons why during this live stream I sometimes like to talk about how let's just be nice, right? It's we have this scarcity mentality that has got to go away. It's got to go away, and the only way to do that is basically continue what we're doing. Continue on this course, and we will get to a situation that is well, it's going to be interesting, because we're not going to have to think we have to fight over things. Um, and that will be a nice day. That'll be a very, very nice day. So, all right, cool. I like the idea of a telescope in a Zeppelin. I think that's really, really cool. Um, I guess if you're in like the what's it called? The gondola. Um, you've got the big airship up here, and then the gondola down here. And I assume that's where the telescope would be. You wouldn't be able to look too far up because the big thing would be in the way. So, yeah, maybe you'd have to locate that somewhere else. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that would do for balance or anything, but yeah, it's an interesting thought for sure. For sure. All right. Well, cheers. Oops. I really didn't have anything else planned. I'm sort of thinking unless somebody's got something burning like Tom with his on this day.
Okay.
Cool. Vera Rubin, yes.
Vera Rubin, yeah.
Very, very cool. Yep. Yeah, that was one of the ways that this idea of dark matter, which I gotta say that is just a red flag to me. It's just it's just too hokey. There's got to be something else going on that we're just not noticing or paying attention to. So, but we'll see. So yeah, cool. Yeah, she was great. She was absolutely great. She just I think she is gone. Pretty sure. Although I think she had a pretty decent long life too.
Born in 1928, I guess.
Yeah, so I don't think she's around anymore. I can't be sure of that. Maybe Tom knows, but
she would be older than I am.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she okay, yeah. So she passed in 2016. So yeah, cheers to Vera Rubin. Yeah. So that she did. I did know that much at least. Yeah, she got into spectroscopy, or at least the spectroscopy game pretty early on, and so it was one of those kinds of situations where she was in the right place at the right time. She had the skills, right? Those are the three elements of success, right? It's 90, at least 90% luck, and 10% you're prepared. You are ready to grab that brass ring.
Anybody who said they've never had any luck's a liar. I mean,
it's an absolute liar.
Absolutely. I mean, you're right place, right time, but you have to be prepared.
You gotta be prepared.
I mean, there are a lot of prepared people in this world who don't succeed, but they just didn't get to the right place at the right time.
That's right.
But you still have to be prepared. There's no substitute for that.
Yeah.
Luck alone won't do it.
Right.
Not in
well,
science.
And that's actually one of the purposes of this live stream for me personally is to work on my speaking skills, which are extremely poor, and at least try to communicate a little bit, at least, and try to get better and better. So when the opportunities pop up, to speak to groups, I can just sort of transport myself right here, and this is easy. This is fun, right? So no problem at all. Speaking of which, 365 Days of Astronomy today is my podcast. So go over there and give it a listen. It's a slightly different cosmic than what you're used to. to here. It's just, because I'm reading a transcript, right? I mean, I write it all out, and then I just read it, and so it's very formal, and it's spoken relatively well. It's not all the goofiness that's here, but give that a listen if you like to. I really like the format. I think I found an interesting thing that nobody else is doing. What I do is actually what I suggest here is go find a paper, sort of a modern paper, and find a reference. Find some topic in the paper that's like, oh, that's kind of interesting, and there's a reference to that specific topic. So you go to that reference and you look at that paper, and that paper, of course, has references. So you pick one of those, and you go down and 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 down. It's really as far as you want. I've stopped at well, this one is 11 layers, and there's more. There's more. so so uh, um, so and then what I do for the podcast is I sort of do a James Burke connections thing, starting in the past, and I just go through each reference to this modern era idea, and it almost writes itself. It's really cool. It's and it's actually pretty easy, and it seems to always be really interesting, because there are multiple paths that you can follow, and I just sort of choose what seems interesting. Sometimes these paths lead to paywalls, and sometimes the paths lead to books. And those are the two things that I usually can never find. So, I'll try to go, relatively deep, right? I'll go, like 5 or 6 layers down. If I hit a brick wall, I'll just back out and I'll try another path. And like I said, I've gotten to like 12 layers, and it definitely continues to go. This last one, I think I started in 1934, so that's pretty recent. Things in astronomy, they go all the way back to BC times. So I don't know if I'd find any papers papers back then, but so yeah, I think it's an interesting concept, and I've done it twice now, and I like it. So I'm going to continue doing that. Like I said, I think it's unique. I don't think anybody else is doing that. They are reporting on news, doing lots of talking back and forth and whatnot, and that's all great, right? Check them out. I think the weekly Space Hangout, I think they're on summer break, so they're not going to be back until like September, I think. Tony Darnell, I'm pretty sure he's still doing his things. I haven't seen one recently, but maybe in the past couple weeks or so. So yeah, definitely check all of those folks out. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna call it a little bit short today, unless anybody has anything.
I was going to say one thing. Speaking about going back, I can't remember her name, but it seems to me I recall a woman in ancient Egypt, and I'm talking of thousands of years ago, who did astronomy.
Yes.
She ended up having a lot of trouble when the Romans.
Yes, her name was Hypatia.
Hypatia. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. She was actually, I think, at one time she was the head librarian of the Library of Alexandria.
Yeah.
She was in charge. I think that was sort of the beginning of the end. I don't know the whole story there. It's sort of a weepy story. Um, it it uh, it probably does more harm than good, realizing how much destruction there actually was. I think, you know, Carl Sagan, you know, he talked about it in Cosmos um, quite a bit, and you know, he was very, very, you know, disturbed at the fact that that you know, this library was destroyed because, you know,
That
a
was
million.
greatest atrocities
Yeah, but you know,
history.
I I don't think that we should really worry too much about that. Let's just move forward,
Yeah.
and you know, hopefully not repeat that kind of dumbness, because that, you know,
That's
that was
right.
just dumb. They you know, the Romans didn't know what they had,
Yeah.
really, you know.
And I
So
don't think they burned it down on purpose, actually. It was just,
oh, oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it was a slow destruction,
it was
is
just
my understanding.
battle. And, you know, fires get started. It's a library. It's full of papyrus. It's going to go up like a shot.
It's going to go up really, really, really fast. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, you know, lots of information was lost, but that's okay. Let's, you know, we will continue, um, and you know, just because we didn't go that way, and now we're going that way, seems fine to me. We just need to relax a little bit.
That's
So,
it.
cheers, relax, take some breaths. Yeah, I mean, it's doesn't have to be quite as rough as it is. I just don't think so. Don't think so. So, all right. Well, I think I am going to get out of here for now. Maybe a little bit early, but we'll definitely be back tomorrow. 2 hours UTC. Um, anything astronomy. Yeah. Bring it on. There's always astronomical things to talk about, so no problem at all. But yeah, if you'd like to chat about anything specifically, absolutely, come on in. That's what this is all about. This is for pros and amateurs and newbies, anybody. I'm just sharing a passion. I absolutely love astronomy and science and space, so why not share it around a little bit? And so the more of you, the better. All right, there is the signal. Yep, she's just beamed up, and I'm getting the signal too. Yeah. Oh yeah, loud and clear. So I got to get out of here too. So everybody, take care. Peace, cheers, and all that. I've got a little bit left in here. I'll save it for the ride up. All right, everybody. I will see you in a little more than 23 hours from now. All right. See you later. Live long and prosper. Bye.